Alright, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you what the inside of all of these cells look like and how I got all the formulas to do what I wanted them to do. So we'll start over here. In order to get the cells to change colors, that's going to go under conditional formatting. So if you click on the cell, you go to Format, Conditional Formatting. Over here, you can see that I have it set so that if the text in this cell says A, it's going to turn green. And if it says anything else but just the letter A, it's going to turn red. So this is a way for me to really see at a glance how students performed. Over here in my bonus question column, since that question was not going to count against the students, you can see I had the conditional formatting a little bit different. Instead of changing the background, it only changes the font color and whether or not it's italicized. Moving over here to the number of questions correct, and again, this would not be counting the bonus. Right now, for Google Sheets, there's not a really easy way to have this automated, but having it color-coded makes it really easy for me to count. So to get this number, I just count the number of green cells. So for this one, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there were 8 questions correct. I have to manually enter that in, but then it will automatically tell me the raw score. So for this, the formula is going to be the previous cell, which is O3, divided by the number of questions. I was only counting 10 questions for this student since they did take a modified test. You can see question 3 and 7 were left blank. So for this cell, I have it that the formula will be equals the previous cell divided by 10. This, I have a note up here under bonus points that if I need to add bonus points from this question, I'm going to do it as 0 point and then the number of bonus points. This child didn't get any, so it's a 0. And then here I have the curved score. Since we take STAR style tests in my class, I like to add a couple of points at the end for the grade book because according to the STAR test, around 60% is going to be passing, but at our school, 70% is passing, so here I have a note that if 58% is considered passing, the student would actually receive a 92. So to get that curve automatically, the formula is going to be equal, open parenthesis, P3, which is this cell from the raw score, plus the number of bonus points from Q3, close parenthesis, plus 0.12. And you can see that formula is going to be the same for every cell in this column. The only thing that's going to change is the cell corresponding to the raw score and the bonus points. Then in this column, I have did students annotate. This, again, I just manually type in Y for yes or N for no. And I have a note up here that helps me remember that. I typed it in the top cell. Now to get these automated numbers down here where it says question mastery, I actually have some cells hidden. So after unhiding the cells, you can see at the bottom of this column, I have it to count if the student selected A. So that formula is equal, count if, open parenthesis, and then I would do the range that I wanted it to look at. So for this, the column would be B3 through B19, comma, and then the letter I want it to count in quotation marks. So since this question, the correct answer was A, it's going to say A in quotation marks here, then close parentheses. And you can see that it's gone ahead and it's counted it automatically. So 14 students selected the correct answer. Now to get the overall mastery for this cell, it's going to be the 14 students. So I did B20 because that was this previous cell, divided by the number of students in the class. So for this, that would be 17. And it's going to be the same all the way across. The only thing that changes is the range and then what answer choice I wanted. If you use the copy feature, you would select the corner and your cursor should turn into this plus sign, and then you would just drag it out to however many times you wanted to copy it. You can't do that as well for this column or this row up here, because if I do that, then it's going to copy it and make every cell the answer choice A. What I like to do is I'll copy it for the first time, and then I'll just go through and I'll change whatever answer choice I want it to count. So for this one, I know that it's D, so I would change that to a D. Down here for the standards averages, this is going to count the question mastery if this test had more than one question covering the same standard. So for example, you can see questions 8 through 12 all covered figure 19F. So to get that, down here on my standards, I have the standards listed. For this one, it would be the average of all of these questions, and that would be these cells down here. You can see that figure 19D for 8.11, all those questions were not right next to each other, so instead of doing a range, I just do the average and I list the individual cells for that question. The benchmark averages, that's just me manually inputting that information, but I like to compare what we're doing in class to what the district has provided us. So here you can see this is in red because before I changed these numbers to show you 8.10 figure 19D, there was a pretty large discrepancy there between our test and this district's test. For the class statistics, for the class average, this is going to be the average of the raw scores. So that's this range. For class mastery, this I need to do another count if formula. So right below where the class ends, I'm going to have another count if, and this time I'm not counting for a letter, I'm counting for a score. So you can see here that it's going to count if the raw score was greater than 58%, because that's what was considered passing on this test. So you can see 15 students passed the test. So for my class mastery, I'm going to go equals the cell where I counted, which was P20, divided by the number of students in the class, which was 17. So you can see why I have all these cells hidden normally is because after I enter in that formula, I don't necessarily need to see these numbers. What I'm more interested in are these percentages down here. So to hide the cells, I'm going to highlight cells 20, 21, and 22. I right click, and then I just go to hide rows. And then my annotation statistics are also inputted manually, but it's essentially the same information. I do a count if formula to see if they annotated or not, and then divide by the total number of students in the class.